his introductory speech.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Governor, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Kostas, Iatrou, dear guests. Welcome in Cluj for the second edition, Boosting Regional Economies Through Sustainable Development, a very important topic for Romanian, for European aviation, and also for Cluj International Airport. We hope that this half-day conference will be very successful. We have important speakers. You have seen the program, and we are looking forward to participate very actively in today's debates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ciceo. Now I would like to pass the mic to our very good friend and co-organizer and brain, let's say, of this whole conference, whole event. And this would be Mr. Kostas Iatrou from Air Transport News.
Good morning, everyone. Really, it's a pleasure to be back here in Cluj. This is the second edition of the Regional Air Transport Conference. We started last year in the same place, and really, it's really fantastic to be back and to work together with Cluj International Airport. You know, as my capacity as a media, one of key media in the aviation, working around the globe, I can say that the team here in Cluj International was a great team, and I think they need an applause under the leadership of David, of course, but Sorin and all the team, because they make it really a big event here, a quality event, and it's important to meet again and talk about topics that are critical for our industries, not only for this region, but also this is a start for food for thought for other regions of the world and Europe, of course. And as David said, this year topic is boosting regional economy throughout sustainable development. We saw sustainable development is quite critical in the agenda, especially after COVID times. Then it's we have to develop. We saw that there is a booming of traffic. Probably you have seen already the figure of Cluj International Airport that reached the traffic of 2019. It's a success story all over the world and Europe, because in average we are still below 2019. And as David said, we have a really high-level panelists today, and I really thank all of them, our keynote, Glyn and Montserrat, that invest their time to be here, and all the other speakers, and we have a really great panel later. And then really, I'm really happy to be here again. Mulțumesc.
Thank you so much, Mr. Iatrou, for your kind words and for all of the efforts put into organizing this conference here at Cluj International Airport. And now I would like to ask the Deputy Governor of Cluj County, Mr. Razvan Ciortea, to step up in here and give his speech.
Mulțumesc frumos. Domnule director David Ciceo, distinși oaspeți, onorată asistență, bun venit la Cluj și bun venit la Aeroportul Internațional Cluj-Napoca. Astăzi este o zi importantă pentru Aeroportul Internațional Avram Iancu, Cluj și pentru comunitatea noastră, deoarece ne aflăm aici pentru a deschide lucrările cele de-a doua ediție a Conferinței Internaționale de Aviație Regional Air Transport Conference. După succesul ediției pilot din toamna anului trecut,
Dear Mr. Director General, David Ciceo, distinguished guests and participants, welcome to Cluj-Napoca and welcome to Cluj International Airport. Today is an important day for Cluj-Avram Iancu International Airport and for our community, because we are here to open the works of the second edition of the Regional Air Transport Conference after the success of the pilot edition in the fall of 2022.
Îl felicit pe domnul director general David Ciceo și pe întreaga sa echipă pentru organizarea acestei conferințe internaționale și pentru faptul că reușește să adune aici la Cluj-Napoca lideri de seamă din industria aviației europene și nu numai, pentru a dezbate o gamă largă de subiecte de interes pentru industria de transport aerian.
I would like to congratulate Director General David Ciceo and his entire team for organizing this international conference and for the fact that it succeeds in gathering here in Cluj-Napoca prominent leaders from the European aviation industry and beyond, and to debate a wide range of topics of interest for the air transport industry.
Consider faptul că economia unei regiuni are șanse suplimentare să beneficieze de dezvoltare exponențială atunci când acea regiune este foarte bine conectată cu alte regiuni europene. Iar dezvoltarea sustenabilă a unui aeroport poate cu siguranță să atragă după ea și o dezvoltare sustenabilă a întregii regiuni deservite.
I believe that the economy of a region has additional chances to benefit from an exponential development when that region is very well connected with other European regions, and the sustainable development of an airport can certainly attract the sustainable development of the entire region it serves.
Urmăresc cu atenție eforturile de dezvoltare susținute ale aeroportului internațional Cluj și le-am susținut mereu pentru că profesionalismul acestei organizații a atras după ea și rezultate de excepție de-a lungul anilor. Mă bucur nespus când aud despre noi borne de pasageri pe care aeroportul internațional Cluj le depășește în fiecare an și le doresc să rămână mereu în elita aeroporturilor regionale ale Europei.
I carefully follow the sustained development efforts of Cluj International Airport, and I have always supported them because the professionalism of this organization has also attracted exceptional results over the years. I'm incredibly happy when I hear about new passenger milestones that Cluj International Airport surpasses every year, and I wish them to always remain among the elite of regional airports in Europe.
Vă doresc mult succes în cadrul lucrărilor acestei conferințe și vă doresc să reveniți cu drag la Cluj-Napoca ori de câte ori veți avea ocazia. Vă mulțumesc foarte mult!
I wish you a great deal of success during the works of this conference, and I wish you to come back to Cluj-Napoca whenever you have the opportunity. Thank you. And now I would like to ask our last representative in these keynote and welcome addresses, Mr. Dan Tarcea, Vice Mayor of Cluj-Napoca Municipality, to give out his kind words.
Bună dimineața, doamnelor și domnilor!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
În numele domnului primar Emil Boc al Consiliului Local și al meu vă transmit bun venit în Cluj-Napoca, bun venit în inima Transilvaniei.
On behalf of Mayor Emil Boc, the local council and the local authorities here from Cluj-Napoca, I would like to welcome you in Cluj-Napoca and Transylvania.
Vă aflați în orașul care are la bază tehnologia, încrederea, investițiile în infrastructură.
You are now located in a city which relies heavily on IT, on development, on progress and technology.
De asemenea, în orașul pentru care contează mediul și calitatea umană și calitatea vieții, care sunt elemente esențiale pentru o comunitate fericită și prosperă.
In a city which, let's say, puts a lot of accent on the well-being of its inhabitants and the permanent, let's say, efforts to secure a safe and comfortable environment for everyone residing in the city.
Analizăm împreună schimbările care ne afectează pe toți.
We are constantly analyzing changes that affect all of us.
Acest aspect se poate realiza doar împreună.
This is an aspect which can only be done together, by all together involved permanently.
Pasagerii care vin și pleacă de pe aeroportul internațional din Cluj-Napoca nu sunt doar oameni de afaceri, studenți, părinți care își vizitează copiii sau turiști.
Passengers landing here in Cluj are not just businessmen or let's say parents visiting their students which are established here in Cluj as a university city.
Suntem împreună cetățeni mondiali care avem aceleași valori și care punem pe primul loc valorile umane.
We are together like worldwide citizens which treasure human values.
De asemenea, consider că calitatea oamenilor reprezintă un punct important de plecare pentru noi toți.
And I consider as a good starting point the quality of humanity these days.
Pentru creșterea internațională, categoric avem nevoie de un aeroport, cum este aeroportul din Cluj-Napoca, avem nevoie de conectivitate.
For an important economic growth here in the city and the region, for sure an international airport like the one in Cluj is mandatory.
De asemenea, consider că aeroportul din Cluj-Napoca este un portal de conectivitate cu Europa și de acolo cu întreaga lume.
And I also see that Cluj International Airport is an important gateway to the entire Europe and from there on to entire world. Why not?
În acest context al învățării rezilienței împreună, cred că temele pe care o să le abordați în această conferință vor fi de mare interes pentru noi.
Given the fact that we've recently learned more and more about resilience, today's discussions throughout the conference, I think, will be very beneficial to everyone involved.
Aștept cu mare nerăbdare concluziile specialiștilor.
I look forward to hearing the conclusion of specialists reunited here.
De asemenea, aș vrea să vă mulțumesc că ați onorat invitația pentru a participa la această conferință.
I would also like to thank every one of you for making an effort to be here today for the conference.
Mulțumesc și domnului director Ciceo pentru că a făcut posibil ca această conferință să se întâmple aici, la noi acasă, la Cluj-Napoca.
I'd also like to congratulate Mr. David Ciceo for making this conference possible here in our own hometown, Cluj-Napoca.
Și de asemenea, aș vrea să vă urez un sejur fericit, plăcut aici la Cluj-Napoca și să vă bucurați de tot ceea ce vă oferă comunitatea și orașul nostru. Mulțumesc!
And then in the last place, I would like to wish you a pleasant stay, even if it's short, but maybe it will determine you to come back on a different occasion. Thank you so much. And now I would like to go on with the second phase of our conference, meaning that we will go on to the keynote addresses, and I will first of all ask everyone to, I will make the introduction, let's say, of who will actually deliver today keynote address. First of all, we will have a video message on behalf of Mr. Tytgat, Acting Executive Director of the European Aviation Safety Agency, who unfortunately excuses himself because he will not be able to join us in person. He was caught up in Brussels with an important meeting there, but he sends a video message that I like to showcase for you and follow his words.
Good morning, and sorry that I cannot join your event in person on boosting regional economy through sustainable development. I would like to address you today on two particular topics. Firstly, aviation innovation and evolution, with particular relevance to connectivity for regional airport. Secondly, I would like to give you some insight on the many developments that are in progress to make aviation kinder to the environment. When it comes to the economic impact, without a doubt, aviation is and remains a big contributor to the economy in any location, as an employer, but also as a facilitator of business connection and leisure travel. It is also a key element for trade through cargo operations. The early part of the COVID-19 pandemic gave us a small glimpse of how isolated communities can quickly become without aviation connectivity. And it is evidenced by the rapid recovery since the pandemic, with daily flight in August already at 93% of 2019 levels, that the public wants to fly the economy, and the economy needs flight connections and air transport. At a regional level, good connectivity can make a very pronounced economic difference. And in some geographies, such as mountainous areas or islands, the only easy way to achieve this is by air. One barrier to regular flight links to and between regional airports frequently lies in their inaccessibility in poor visibility conditions. While technology has for some time been able to assist to ensure safe takeoff and landing in such a condition, this required a level of investment which was usually beyond the reach of a smaller airport. In December 2021, a regulation was adopted for the use of new technologies to facilitate safe takeoff and landing at an airport, even in low visibility conditions. This makes certain destinations more attractive in network planning for a commercial airline, as it removes the increased costs and other logistical issues that increase the financial risk of operations to this destination. In effect, it can increase regional connectivity in what I might call the conventional way by increasing the flights on offer from established airlines. But there are many other developments. New drone and aircraft operations are around the corner. Indeed, EASA is actively supporting sustainable regional connectivity with the implementation of several flagship actions of the European Commission Drone Strategy 2.0. An entirely new generation of electric aircraft capable of taking off and landing vertically, so-called VTOLs, is in the making. Europe is home to several promising manufacturers. Examples are Lilium, Volocopter, or Vertical Aerospace. EASA is supporting this new industry, not only with aircraft certification, but also with a set of tailor-made regulations that enable the safe operation of those new aircraft, often referred to simply as air taxi. Vertiport, the places where these aircraft will take off and land, will develop both in urban areas and at existing airports. In support of their safe design, EASA has published prototype technical specifications for Vertiport. New air traffic management concepts were also needed for the safe integration of unmanned aircraft into the airspace. The EU, with the help of EASA, has reacted with the so-called U-Space regulation, a first enabler for the safe integration of unmanned aircraft in the European skies, and applicable in all EU member states since January this year. In the last few moments, I referred very quickly to a lot of new concepts which are unfamiliar to non-aviation experts and are sometimes even a mystery to stakeholders in other parts of the aviation industry. We realize this, and we are currently building the Sustainable Innovative Air Mobility, or what we call a hub for innovation air mobility. An online platform that will provide a one-stop shop for new and traditional stakeholders to gain all required information they need. Drones and IM in particular will enable new business models, providing new efficient, safe and sustainable transport options for business or private customers. Examples include emergency services, mapping, imaging, inspection and surveillance, small consignments such as biological samples or medicine, and air taxi. Drone and VTOL have been designed as energy efficient and sustainable from the outset, but there is a huge activity towards decarbonizing in more traditional aviation. Progress on this is essential if we want to preserve connectivity. At the same time, there can be no doubt that aviation is under extreme pressure to become more sustainable. The public expects this, and industry recognizes the importance of this task. In today's world, the vast majority of people want to be seen to be doing their bit towards reaching a zero-carbon world. Just last week, EASA was formally assigned new responsibilities by the EU legislator, which with the RefuelEU Aviation regulation laid out a roadmap for the decarbonization of aviation and charged us with monitoring the progress toward that goal. The most visible urgent actions relate to the update of sustainable aviation fuel, where EASA is now charged with monitoring the gradual increased usage of sustainable aviation fuel over the coming years by airlines. That means looking into the quality of SAF available and the amount actually used in practice. EASA has also been mandated to launch an environmental labeling scheme for aviation, which helps consumers to make informed choice about the flight on the basis of neutral, reliable data about emissions. Regional airports, which are actively pursuing a green agenda, may find benefits in applying for this labeling scheme, as it will provide them with a trusted tool, endorsed and validated by EASA, to promote these efforts to potential passengers. SAF will, of course, not be the only answer for emissions reduction. It is simply the first and easiest to implement, as it can be achieved within the existing infrastructure without major change to aircraft. Looking further ahead, it is important to foster development of novel and even disruptive green technologies. Several EU industry players have already made announcements on development of novel and disruptive green aircraft technology, including ultra-efficient aircraft engine designs, for example, with optimized aerodynamics or inducted geared engine architectures. Further concepts include hydrogen combustion engines, hydrogen fuel cell, and battery hybrid propulsion solution. These disruptive green technologies are expected to enter into service around 2035. Successful implementation of this new generation green technologies will be boosted by EU major research mechanisms, such as the Clean Aviation Programme, CESAR 3 joint undertakings. And the Clean Aviation and CESAR 3 programs will be key to allow industry achieving those targets which are needed to complement the sustainable aviation fuel solutions in achieving the EU green objectives. EASA strongly believes the development of green technology should go hand in hand with novel certification methods, new standards and regulations, but always aim to maintain or enhance today's safety levels. We, therefore, strongly encourage industry to involve EASA in the process of development of green technologies in order to de-risk and secure the efficient certification of these green solutions. It is of particular importance to look at the complete aviation ecosystem when it comes to introducing green technologies. Regional collaboration initiatives are to be encouraged as a way to identify barriers to preventing a timely uptake of sustainable technology solutions. Innovative products, new entrants, and unfamiliar threats increasingly generate novel risks for the European civil aviation system. This means that testing new technologies in real-life conditions is essential to explore threats and hazards. A strategy for this at regional level can enable the testing of new technologies in real-life conditions, and support developing regulatory learning beneficial to the whole aviation ecosystems. Regions can act as incubators, as we see already in Norway, with the push for electrification of zero-emission regional transport. To support industrial innovation, the competency of the authorities need to be grown and developed as well. This requires exchange and cooperation among authorities at global, national, and regional level. Being involved in research innovation activities and projects from the outset allows to develop and share these new competencies. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope I've been successful in raising several new topics: drones, sustainable aviation fuel, vertical takeoff and landing, green technologies to your attention. I wish you every success in today's event.
Very comprehensive speech given by Mr. Luc Tytgat, even if not here with us in person, but delivered via digital means that we're now very acquainted to ever since the COVID era. And now I would like to invite here on the stage with me our two important speakers of today to give us a share of their knowledge and just entice us into debating regional aviation, regional topics or topics relevant at first for regional airports, but then for all other airports which are connected to our business. And first of all, I would like to welcome on stage Mrs. Montserrat Barriga, Director General, European Regions Airline Association, and give her a warm welcome. Please have a seat. Okay, perfect. Then.
Thank you. So, well, first of all, thank you very much. Thank you, dear authorities. Thank you, dear Mr. Ciceo, for organizing this. Thank you, Mr. Iatrou, for, again, for a wonderful networking event. It's not just about what we say here today in the conference, it's about what we experienced last night in the beautiful piano and violin concert, and also as I think it was Mr. Tarcea that mentioned the human links. So ATN, especially Kostas, is a specialist in making these bonds. So thank you for this. So I was asked to say a few words about the regional boosting regional economy through sustainable development, but may I add the words with a focus in regional aviation in Europe. Obviously, we're all here because of air transport. So, as we already heard and we all know, air transport is a vital component of the regional ecosystem, and it plays a social role for communities and mainland outmost regions and also islands. With approximately 1.2 billion passengers flying on more than 9,100 million flights, the European aviation market contributes to almost 1,000 billion to European economy, and approximately 4% of the European jobs and over 4% of the European GDP. The past few years have been a massive disruption to air travel in Europe, but even before COVID, there were changes taking place in the European air transport dynamics. The COVID pandemic created the largest and most sustained disruption to air services worldwide that has ever occurred anywhere else, and especially in Europe. Airlines rapidly scaled back and even ceased operations to preserve cash, while demand for air travel plummeted, as we know. Widespread travel restrictions and frequent changes to rules about who can enter or leave the countries undermined consumer confidence in travel recovery and made it hard for airlines to plan for future air services. There was a lot of uncertainty. We didn't know how the crisis would leave the air transport sector, but we did recover. And this summer has been, as we know, record-breaking in terms of flights and passengers. However, many things have changed. And over the course of the last 3 years, I would say, there have been a lot of changes in both how consumers travel, the behavior, and also how airlines meet their demand. Travelers are booking trips later. We all do it. We just wait until the last minute to book. And airlines have to adjust their capacity much closer to the flight departure. And these also have implications for airports. And then some airlines are also changing where they fly as they chase for demand for air travel, and they have to adjust very quickly. Some airlines, and in particular some of Europe's major low-cost carriers, have been able to experiment new routes they previously did not serve, doing some experiments, and giving the impression that regional air services are thriving. However, the fact is that, okay, it was a very good summer. We were still around 8%. Luc said 7%, so I was like, okay. So maybe I got the latest information from Eurocontrol says we're 8% below what it was 4 years ago. It's still very good. And we from the association represent the European regional airlines. We have identified the need to understand how these changes have affected regional air connectivity, and more specifically, whether there has been a more negative impact for some remote or peripheral regions, which are more reliant on air services. The fact that low-cost carriers have been able to grow their share of capacity, and we have seen this as a good example on how important they are for regional airports. But given the high passenger levels carried, it's no surprise that they are thriving. Their business models, which prioritize low fares and robust cost control, has proven to be very attractive to travelers. I flew with a low-cost carrier last night myself, and it went very well. But we know, if need be, obviously, like any other company would do, they would walk away if the conditions are not right for them. The net result has been that low-cost carriers have been amongst the most profitable in the industry, and equally the generation of profits pre-COVID meant that they could afford to grow when times were tough and continue with expansion plans, aircraft orders, and new markets. However, the modus operandi of some of these airlines, prioritizing short turnaround times and high aircraft utilization from bases, may be at odds when it comes to needs for regional, remote, or peripheral airports, or routes where scheduling prioritizes the needs of the local community. With this in mind, one of the concerns is the high level of route churn. What route churn means is the to which extent some airlines may enter and leave markets, stop and start routes, and operate only seasonal services in order to maximize profitability following market demand. But for airlines which have a commitment to serving the communities that rely on air connectivity, it can appear as the pursuit of profitability at the expense of economic and social benefits, which come from a year-round continuous air service. So, a word on the regulations pressure on connectivity. The regulatory has a key role. On a positive note, the number of flights operated in Europe under 700, 800 kilometers has grown. But the route networks for a selection of moderate size airports in Europe have changed since before the pandemic, showing that many airports have suffered reduced connectivity. And I know Cluj is doing very well, but some other airports are really struggling, especially in terms of the frequencies of the services to maintain the destination served. This has perhaps been exacerbated on shorter routes where the policy environment has moved towards persuading consumers not to fly, to take the car instead. That's a big danger because the car is much more dangerous than obviously flying. And to use other ground-based modes of transport also, for example, with the French banning short-haul flying, okay? Although we knew it was only cosmetic, but it's important. Decisions and policies of the European Commission, national governments, and the regulators have affected the evolution of the air transport sector in Europe over the past decade. As the push for aviation to decarbonize hastens, the policy environment has been towards moving air traffic to other modes of transport where possible, and particularly for short distance. This is the space where regional airlines are mostly affected. Additionally, decisions concerning the use of incentives to airlines for the operation of new routes have sent a signal that new routes are valued more highly than established routes, which does not make any sense. While the rationale for these policies have been to encourage growth of air services and competition, they contribute to airline route churn, as I mentioned, come and go, and the potential loss of air services for some communities that may be reliant on these air services. There is an opportunity to review how these incentives are set for new air services, especially for the smaller airports. While current incentives may be justified, they leave a policy vacuum for when the value of maintaining the air services to remote and peripheral communities is not recognized. So we should be rewarding the airlines that stay, not just the airlines that come new. Regional airlines provide air connectivity all year round, playing a social role for these communities and contribute to the economic development of the growth of the region itself, increasing tourism, investment, employment, SMEs, as we know. Therefore, the regions and SMEs across Europe rely on air transport to ensure their full access to the European single market. It's important to let the regions and islands live whatever the seasonality. Imagine a good example is the Greek islands, where some of the smaller islands, they rely on the teachers to go to schools in the winter. So if they don't have a year-round service, the teachers will not be able to go to these schools. Air connectivity is what helps these regions to grow and ensure the promoting cohesion across Europe, addressing all the regional disparities. A few words on the PSOs, public service obligations. Public service obligation routes must remain a key instrument for Europe's connectivity and social and economic cohesion. Therefore, the future revision of the air services regulation, we have been waiting for the revision of this regulation for a long time. And the PSO framework should ensure more flexibility and long-term growth. In this respect, more powers should be allocated to the region and the city involved in the public service obligations. And I think probably the authorities from Cluj would agree to this. Indeed, the decision of opening a new public service obligation route belongs to the national government, but it has been proven that not all member states are able to support new public service obligations because of the significant discrepancies in the national budgets. However, member states cannot leave everything to the PSO framework, and we need to produce the entry level of basic connectivity. The current PSO regulation does not sufficiently allow operators to commercially justify the operation of certain regional routes, nor to expand the network on routes to guarantee regional connectivity. Therefore, a new legal tool to support regional carriers in development of thin commercial routes that do not fall within the PSO framework is essential to ensure the development of these economies. So I'm looking forward to getting also the feedback from Cluj about the PSO framework and the air services regulation. A word on decarbonization. Aviation can reconcile connectivity and sustainability. It is possible to decarbonize aviation. We need to have that 100% clear. And aviation will decarbonize by 2050. It will be net zero. It will happen. It is happening. I was saying this 3 years ago, and people were saying, oh, well, we'll see. Well, 3 years later, we're looking at the roadmap, and the roadmap is going actually faster than we think. Regional aviation is the ideal testing ground for technological advancements aimed at decarbonizing aviation. So SAF is very important, of course, but we also believe in the technological developments. And the members of my association have embraced this full-heartedly, with many members leading the way in future technologies to achieve the target set by the Fit for 55 package. The industry will need to continue to substantially invest. Obviously, it's not free. Decarbonizing, it's very costly. And make the necessary operational transitions, while governments will need to ensure the level playing field and facilitate the transition through incentives by reducing the investment risks with consistent and stable policy frameworks. Currently, the pressure from additional cost and increase in energy prices, additional tax burdens, the need to invest in new technologies will make it very difficult for regional carriers to maintain thin regional networks. So punishing airlines with bans, taxes, especially when money is invested into other areas, is counterproductive. More should be done to invest in new technologies such as electric, hydrogen-powered aircraft, as well as cost-efficient and easy access to sustainable aviation fuels. I mentioned it, but another word on short-haul flight bans and their relationship with connectivity. Banning short-haul flights can only be implemented if the same level of connectivity is ensured by another mode of transport that is just as safe as air transport. In this respect, a consultation with the local authorities is essential to ensure that such ban would not have a negative impact on the economy of the region. In addition, it has been proven that when a suitable rail alternative exists on a given route, passengers will automatically shift to rail. So I don't know all these debate where it's taking us. Banning short-haul flights and shifting to rail is only cosmetic, as we said. Such bans will not provide the intended environmental benefits because there's also decarbonization of aviation, so we cannot look at 40 years from now when aviation will already be decarbonized. Building new railway lines has a high environmental cost due to the CO2 emissions associated with cement and steel production and emissions from the fuel used in the construction infrastructure. So the estimated time taken to build a new rail line in Europe is between 18 to 26 years, depending on the political will of the member state and obviously the national budget allocated. And we hope by then regional aviation will already be green. New disruptive aircraft technologies are already being tested in the air. And finally, the studies to date have shown that the rail would probably not be able to handle all the passengers coming from air transport because we see this growing and growing. I have lots of examples here, about success stories from regional aviation, but I don't want to be too long, so I'm very happy to discuss them with you over the coffee break. And in conclusion, while the industry is clearly still feeling the vestiges of the disruption caused by the pandemic, regional airlines, or at least the capacity and frequency of the routes, have recovered well. Nonetheless, European aviation remains a very dynamic and flexible market, and the low-cost carriers continue to gain capacity and market share throughout Europe. The effects of their business model will continue to impact the market dynamics and connectivity. Equally, regional aviation will need to maintain its resilience and it continues facing increasing competition and regulatory challenges in an evolving industry. Thank you again so much for this opportunity, and I look forward to looking at more airlines hopefully coming to Cluj, and wish that you continue your success as you have done so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If there's anyone who wishes to present any question to Mrs. Montserrat Barriga, we're happy to take any questions.
Decarbonization will determine the price increase for tickets?
Of course. It's already happening. It's already happening. It will be more expensive, and obviously this is why the policy framework is so important, because it's not just about penalizing the end passengers. These are the ones that are going to end up paying for it. Okay, the airlines may reduce their margins, the airports may reduce their margins, but there is a limit to that. So this is why investments from public money and support from the regulatory framework are so key.
Regarding public service obligation, Romania unfortunately did not use at all. Do you know other country which did not use public service obligation for certain destinations?
I think you need to apply for it. You will need, Romania will need to apply. Our association is advocating very strongly to review the public service obligation rules. We are working with a few of our members that operate public service obligation, a lot of them, Videro, Sky Express, DAT, Loganair, a lot of these airlines. And there needs to be a change. And there needs to be, as I said, the local government needs to have a say in. So if you have ideas of possible routes, I welcome you to come and bring those ideas, because we want to put a paper together ready for the next commission that will be in place for early summer, to say we need to review the public service obligations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there is any other question?
Hello, I'm Adela Hennes. I'm a county councillor, and actually I want to ask a challenging question about a cargo terminal in Cluj-Napoca. How do you consider this topic? Because we have one in making about 200 kilometers away. And what would it mean to have one in Cluj-Napoca in time horizon, but also considering the closeness to the other one, which is already in doing?
That is such a good question that I'm going to save it for the next speaker. Okay. Because he's the expert on cargo. Right. So Glyn will respond to that question. Thank you all very much.
Okay, so thank you so much. Now I would like to give the stage to our second, let's say, important speaker here, and I hope he doesn't mind that I invited our lady first to speak today. So Mr. Glyn Hughes, General Director TIACA, is here with us to speak about the cargo segment and give us his shares and the thoughts about it. Thank you so much.
Excellent, thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for inviting me today. So I want to thank David, Dr. Kostas, Cargo doesn't always get invited to such important sessions. Evidenced by the previous question, though, we have a role to play here, so thank you very much. You asked the question exactly as I wrote it, so that was perfect. I look forward to that. First of all, I'd like to just introduce TIACA. TIACA is a trade association dedicated to the area of air cargo. We consider ourselves a horizontal association in the sense that we are comprised of airlines, airports, freight forwarders, trucking companies, manufacturers, shippers, technology companies, drone manufacturers. Anybody that's involved in the movement of air cargo technically can become a member of TIACA, which allows us really to have a collective view of where the industry is going and some of the issues and challenges that we're currently facing. Forgive me for being very pro-cargo in this presentation. It's one of the things that you realize when I've been in the industry for, I shouldn't say this because it ages me, 41 years now. So I started very young. I had hair when I started. And they said to me, you can go into the passenger world and you'll keep your hair, or you go into the cargo world and you lose it. I said, I'll lose it. But one of the things that's always evident here is cargo is quite often silent. It operates in the belly, it operates at the other part of the airport, and people don't realize how important it is to the global ecosystem that we have in air transport. And this event, which I have to again congratulate you for putting on such an important event covering two of the key themes, which is regional development. For me, that increases connectivity, but doing so in a sustainable manner. And I'm going to try and touch upon both of those aspects. But I'm going to start just by a little bit of number context. IATA, previously I worked for IATA, so they allow me to use the numbers still. I have to pay them a royalty, but I don't mind that. In 2019, they published a study which said that the global value to the global economy, the annual value to the global economy in 2019, pre-COVID, of passenger tourism generated $850 billion worth of revenue to the global economy. That's a huge figure. But for the same year, the value that was derived from the air cargo transported in the passenger bellies and the main deck freighters was $6.4 trillion. It was 8 times more valuable to the global economy than passenger tourism. During COVID, of course, the numbers just quadrupled and cargo was operating 25-30% multiplier because as the passenger networks, as we know, were grounded, the cargo networks were flying at a higher rate of utilization than ever before. And in fact, to get through COVID, the 2,500 freighter aircraft were supplemented by another 2,500 passenger aircraft that were deployed for purely cargo operations. So again, congratulations to Montserrat's members, some of whom never carried commercial cargo, but they actually redesignated some of their aircraft. So it shows that this industry is both innovative, agile, and responsive to social needs. I'm going to talk a little bit as well about sustainable development with regards to the air cargo industry and what we're doing in particular to look at it. We don't just look at it, the decarbonization, it's crucially important, and I agree with everything that's already been said about the moves and the developments in this particular area. But we also, from a cargo side, look at the overall United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 SDGs, which allows us then to focus both on the planet, as well as the people, but also global prosperity. And I think this is where cargo has a unique role with regards to global society. Whereas you can determine that perhaps 10% of the global population are passengers, about 80 to 90% of the global population are impacted by air cargo, whether or not they're involved in products that are exported or imported. We all love to use cell phones today and smartphones that are manufactured around the world. A typical smartphone with all the components has probably crossed about 1,000 borders by the time it actually comes to final assembly. That final assembly and sub-assembly production can occur where the unit costs are lowest. And as you develop this region in particular with regards to high tech, I see that's an area as well where you can see some global growth in the marketing of those particular products. Again, as another example, you look at the Kenyan flour industry. There's 500,000 people employed there for actually small farm holders who are putting food on their table, sending their children to school because their product, grown under fresh, natural conditions, is highly prized by Western European flour auctions. Those 500,000 people's livelihoods are based on air connectivity and the availability of air cargo capacity. Again, this is important for us to keep reminding ourselves, so as we face the challenges, which we will continue to face the challenges from an environmental perspective, we need to make sure that that debate is very broad. It's not just about the environmental impact, it's about the social responsibility and the social benefits of what the global aviation industry can provide. And air transport will and always remain a crucial component of integrating economies, integrating communities, and the more we understand and the more we trade with each other will also enhance society in terms of the safe and, shall we say, conflict, I won't say free, but conflict reduced as much as possible. Now, when people say, well, what is actually air cargo moving? And I say, anything you can think of. You know, if there was no air cargo, we would have no electricity, no smartphones, no clothes, no jewelry, no glasses, no eyewear, no phones, sorry, no food. Well, not no food, but it would be somewhat limited and restricted. So the availability of the cargo infrastructure can actually support not just today's society, but growing forward. One of the other interesting things that we've seen is cargo's heyday was during COVID, but as the passenger business has rebounded this year in particular, the cargo business has suffered. We've suffered as the consumer around the world has suffered, as the level of inflation has risen, as the level of utility costs have increased. They're actually putting less money in their pocket to buy, as it were, the discretionary items. So we're seeing smartphone sales down, auto sales are down, high-cost jewelry sales are down. And what's also interesting is people or families who have said, we've not gone on holiday for 3 years, we're going to go on holiday this year, end of story, we're going to Cluj, we're going on holiday. But they're not buying a new smartphone, or they're not buying a new washing machine with components in it. So cargo is almost competing as well with the passenger side, which is an unusual scenario. But it's good because, of course, we're all using the same assets. And one of the other key things for me, and it came up earlier as well, we also get the challenge about different modes of transport. Well, you should use the road, you should use the rail. We always say, if you build 3.4 kilometers of rail, it takes you 3.4 kilometers. If you build 3.4 kilometers of highway, it takes you 3.4 kilometers. If you build a runway of 3.4 kilometers, it takes you anywhere in the world. So from an environmental perspective, people shouldn't just look at the environmental impact of usage. They need to look at the life cycle of the environmental impact of building, maintaining, and using. And this is where aviation's story is actually still one of the strongest key components for global connectivity. As I mentioned, one of the other aspects that we also need to look at for this industry, for air cargo, from a sustainability perspective and from a connectivity perspective, is the regulatory environment. Most people, when they fly from A to B, they eventually want to fly from B to A and go back to where they originated from. If cargo does that, something went wrong. You know, cargo should be unidirectional. It should just go in one direction and be used where it actually ends up. So in order for the air cargo industry to become as efficient as it needs to be, we need to have a regulatory framework in place which allows the assets to be deployed in the most environmentally friendly, operationally most efficient fashion, which is through 7 freedom rights or through traffic rights, which facilitates carriers deploying the assets where the demand is. Quite often you will find, as I said before, the flowers coming out of Kenya, for example, or let's take in a few years' time, you're going to have freighters coming out of here with high-tech goods. You need to then find, well, what can we put on those planes to get back to that point of origin? So we need to have quite, shall we say, sophisticated and sometimes quite innovative supply chains that take that aircraft around the world to get back to where the actual air cargo is required. So this is an area as well that we need to advocate for going forward, is a much more open, liberal and flexible economic regime. We also need to look, when it comes to operational considerations, a lot of challenges are happening in different parts of the world about night bans, curfews, etc. But air cargo is a 24-hour business. Quite often it can actually help to supplement an airport that's very busy in perhaps morning hours or afternoon or evening hours, but perhaps quieter late at night. Well, that's when air cargo can come in and actually help with those overnight connections. So again, it can work very seamlessly and hand in hand with the passenger side of the business. I was very interested to hear Luke talking earlier about the drones. Air cargo has obviously done a lot of development in the world of unmanned vehicles already. There are already scheduled drone operations in parts of the world. In Canada, for example, they're using them extensively to actually support remote villages. There's a lot of developments with how they can actually use drones for, again, intra-island air cargo movements in Greece. And we do see going forward that drones in the air cargo space will play a role for regional airports as well because of the efficiency and the very, very, as we see here, you know, the close proximity that you've got. It's very good for a drone operation to be so close to a city center location. So we see a lot of developments for drones, particularly in regional airports. One of the other areas that I'd like to just touch upon a little bit now, which is one of the challenges that we have as an industry, which is how to attract and retain the next generation of workforce. And I think this is an issue that we have both on the passenger and the cargo side, is that we do need to do a better job of how we actually present to the outside world that the value of a regional, global, intercontinental, connected air transport system is. It's crucial. Again, congratulations, David, what you've done here over the last few years. For those of you that haven't looked at that chart, that is just around the corner here. This is absolutely phenomenal. But again, it wasn't just by luck that that happened. It happened because there was a vision, a strategic leader that said, this is what we need to do. It was then supported by a collaborative effort of the local municipality, of the regulatory agencies, of the air operators, the local community, and everybody got together and saying, this is good for us as a region, and this is good for our people, and this is good for us to be able to present our product to the outside world. Because every year when those millions of people come in here, some are visitors here for the first time, they always say, wow, what a wonderful place, I'm coming back. That growth of relationship will enhance the local economy. And again, it will help as well when you start to expand and get wide-bodied aircraft in here with your runway in a few years of 3.4 kilometers. I believe, yes, which is great because you're going to have some lovely big wide-bodied aircraft. The lovely big wide-body aircraft have lovely big cargo bellies in the bottom. Air cargo as a contributor to the global passenger route economics is crucial. It's difficult with short-haul single-aisle aircraft because the cargo payload on a 321 or a 319 or an Embraer or a 73, for example, is limited, 1.5, maybe 1 to 2 tons. But when you get a 777, 787, 350, etc., 330, you can have 15 to 20, 25 tons. That really starts to add a huge value contribution to the route. It also provides a great impetus for people to foreign direct investment in the local community. You're building up here through relationships with universities and others, a very high-tech community, which is great because, of course, the high-tech products it's a worldwide global marketplace. And as we see a lot of global economy or global manufacturers de-risking, China +1, China +2, China +3, the G7 have said we need to de-risk. China accounts for 28% of global production today. We need to get that down so that we're not effectively single sourcing. So why can't this region actually say, you know what, we've got a high quality product, let us play a role. Cargo would be there to support that. Not much more else I'd like to say here other than to say thank you very much again for inviting me in. I'm sure there will be at least one question, if I'm not mistaken, with regards to air cargo. And with that, Kostas, I hand to you.
Yes. Maybe we can take another question, or we can answer the first question once again.
Okay, so I put it short again. What are the perspectives of the cargo terminal here? actually comparative to the cargo terminal that is already in building about 200 kilometers away? And what does it matter that they are to be so close, or it doesn't matter, the more the better?
For me to say the more the better is just it's too easy to say that, but the more the better, basically. When you look at air cargo's unique value proposition is speed. Number one, it's speed. As we move forward with e-commerce, for example, if you're looking at e-commerce growth, which is double-digit around the world, that is premised, and my daughter is like a home research project on this. When she orders something online, she's always looking for the button that says, I want it yesterday. And I say, you can't have something yesterday. She said, but I needed it like an hour ago. So the demand for speed means that the proximity from points of arrival to point of consumption need to be as close as possible. As the airport here continues to expand, and as you build a runway extension, as you enhance that connectivity, if there are cargo facilities and cargo terminals here, you will find that will also attract people to say, we have an air cargo ability. A lot of the cargo that leaves Romania today leaves on the roads. It's adding costs. People say, well, trucking is very cheap. Yes, but when you look at the environmental impact of trucking things, a lot of the trade between Romania is with Germany. There's a lot of environmental impact for that. A lot of countries are now putting embargoes of trucks coming into cities at certain times during the day. It's adding cost. Trucks have to sit overnight outside the city. As speed and overall society impact will increase the role that people focus in on other modes of transport, air cargo will have a very unique role to play in that. So what I would actually say is that, for me, it's not just build it and hope. It's work with the local business community, first of all, and to say, what products have we got that we could actually value and benefit from and enhance the value with an air cargo terminal? If I may just give one more story which shows how air cargo can add value to products. At the outset of COVID, I was in Winnipeg, and I was speaking to an airport board, and one of the board members came over who was Canada's largest pig farmer. I mean, it's Canada, so the pig farm was probably the size of Romania. I mean, it was huge, the number of pigs he had. And he had one product, which was chilled pork belly, that he used to take on a truck and drive 36 hours to go from outside Winnipeg to Vancouver, put it on a ship, and South Korea was his marketplace. So it took 45 days to go from farm to the one market. Ships weren't sailing during COVID. So he went to the airport and says, what am I going to do? They said, I can get you a freighter. It's going to cost you $1 million per freighter. The guy said, that's ridiculous, but I have to do it. He said, but you're not sending chilled pork belly anymore. Now you're sending fresh chilled pork belly. Just putting the word fresh meant that the value of that product was exponentially increased. His $800 million business became a $1.2 billion business, the same volume of product, but the word fresh meant that his customers were getting it within 18 hours, not 45 days. And this is, again, an example of where I would say you work with the business community and say, what are we already sending, and how can we enhance value if we had an air cargo product that could actually take it further and quicker? So to me, it's working with the community, because you may find that you might need perishable facilities, you might need security facilities, for example. But almost every example we've seen with regional airports which have developed and invested in air cargo, some relatively close countries to here, for example, has seen an exponential increase in the volume that goes through, which helps attract operators as well.
Thank you so much.
Christian Paris, Menzies Aviation, a cargo agent also. Glyn, please, you have the numbers from IATA. This year, volumes, cargo volumes, went down, how many % versus last year?
I haven't seen the final numbers, but what we're expecting is it's going to be down maybe 3 to 4 to 5% versus last year. More worryingly is the yield drop, because yields during COVID went 200-400% above pre-COVID levels. The air cargo industry in 2019 was in a really bad state because the global economy was under threat. The US was having trade wars with China. They were putting tariffs and barriers up. The EU and the US, the EU and China. So air cargo volumes were very depressed and yields were very low. COVID, as we said, sadly because of COVID, but yields and demand went up. E-commerce has moved on forward, high-tech pharmaceuticals, so many other products have increased. So last year, we saw a great year for volumes, and yields were still very, very high. They've steadily come down. They're not back down to 2019 levels yet. We hope that before the end of this year, we will start to see a turn. We are expecting a boost towards the end of the year. The last quarter, won't see a seasonal peak that we've had in the past, but we will see at least as it were, a cessation of the reduction. So could be 3, 4, 5% volume decrease, but we hope the yields will be there. But 2024 should be a good year.
Thank you. And one more additional questions. You listed, all the reasons why the volumes were down, because of the economical crisis after the COVID. But do you think we are competing, air cargo, we are competing with maritime, They don't know because they have no sea here. And do you think this is also one of the reasons they sorted out with the containers crisis or whatever, and they picked up, the maritime guys, the ships took the cargo back from us?
That's a great question. I have to be honest, and I might surprise you with what I say next, is I speak a lot at maritime conferences, and I challenge them to please improve your service. It's crucial that the maritime sector gets better at what it does. Today, there's 26% of maritime sailings are what they call blank sailings. Literally empty ships that are just moving around. Their labor costs are too high. Their labor agreements are too restrictive. And the reason why I'm advocating that we need a better maritime service is that we need the global economy to have channels for supply chains. Air cargo only moves 1% of the global economy by volume. It's 35% by value, but it's only 1% by volume. So if I'm Foxconn or if I'm Apple and I'm going to invest in a multi-million-dollar facility, tens of million-dollar facility in India, for example, I know that 10% of my product needs to fly out because that's the urgent customers, but 90% of my product needs to go on the shipping industry. So what we see is in times of economic downturn, so as the consumer becomes more cautious, they don't need something today, they need it next week, next month, then we see cargo temporarily shift to maritime sector. But what will happen is as the consumer behavior comes back and starts to become much more buoyant, then we will actually see that shift back to air cargo. So it's temporary, the way that the maritime industry, but the maritime industry does need to do more. They're not doing enough on the environment. They have low sulfur demands as well as the other environmental impact. They're bleaching, sadly, some of their output are bleaching some of the coral reefs. So for me, we need a strong, healthy, good, robust maritime industry. They're not there. So they're just selling a very cheap product. And that's the problem. They're just giving it away in some cases. So they're effectively getting cargo that's moving just because it's so cheap. But we want them to be better so that the air cargo industry, which will always be the premium mode of transport, can again get the volumes back. So I think it's very temporary.
Thank you so much, Glyn. Now I think we can give a good round of applause to our keynote speech here, and I would like to invite on the stage Mr. David Ciceo to give us a presentation on how Cluj Airport is standing these days.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again to Kostas for making this conference possible. I will present a short overview regarding Romanian aviation, Romanian airports, and Cluj Airport. There are 17 Romanian airports in Romania. This year, in June, million below the level 2019. 2019 it was a record in Romania. We had 23 million passengers. What is important and significant, the traffic increased a lot in Romania. In 96 we had only 2 million passengers in total Romania in 96. So from 2 million, the traffic increased in 2019 to 23 millions, and in 2018, 2019, the traffic managed to be more than Romanian population. We all know that in Denmark, other European countries, the traffic, it is 4 times, 5 times higher than the population. We have a lot of opportunity regarding this. Nu prești microfonul ăla că. Regarding the traffic in Romania, 2022, Bucharest, of course, it was the first airport, 12 million passengers, below the level of 2019. We are the second airport in Romania. Iași increased a lot also this year. Timișoara is the fourth, and other regional airports also increased the traffic. Iași developed, and also they benefited for the increase due to the war in Ukraine, because we there canceled the flight in Chișinău due to the risk. So they moved a lot of traffic from Chișinău to Iași, which is close to Romania. We managed in the last 2-3 years all the regional airports to invest European funds to develop infrastructure for safety, for security. This year, in total in Romania, the regional airports invested 500 million euro. Also, we have important projects, and we managed to develop the infrastructure and to increase the standard for Romanian airports. What is very interesting regarding the percentage of the traffic. We can see in 2022, we had in Romania 42%, more than 42% of the traffic. This year, they will have more than 50% of the total traffic in Romania. They started in 2007, and last week we celebrated here in Cluj the arrival of the passenger 80 million since their start in 2007 in Romania. Unfortunately, Blue Air collapsed. They had 11% of the traffic, Ryanair 12%, Tarom 13%. What is not very good, like regarding what Montserrat said regarding public service obligation, unfortunately, the airports, Tarom, other airlines and local communities, they did not benefit from public service obligation. This could be very helpful also for Tarom, also for other destinations, because we have 17 airports. We do not have flights from Cluj to Timișoara, Cluj to Iași. These flights could be possible if we use public service obligations, so we can work on this. Wizz Air started in Cluj in 2007. They have more than 70% of our traffic, 70. They have 7 planes based here, but what is important, we managed also to attract other traditional airlines. Top destinations in Romania, London is the first destination. Also in Cluj is the first destination. We have a lot of ethnic traffic in, that's why London, and also people from UK who are coming in the country to visit. The potential, we have a big potential to increase. We analyzed what could happen until 2040. And we have 3 scenarios. Most probably in Romania, we will have 57 million passengers. Even if we take into consideration the pessimistic scenario, with 46 million, this already is almost double of the traffic. So this means a great effort for all airports to double the infrastructure, new terminals, new apron, new facilities, new equipments, and also a big challenge regarding employees to train and to prepare employees. Regarding Cluj Airport, we have a long history. 1917 was the first landing here on this location. 1932, the official opening of the civil airport, but already before there were scheduled flights on this airport. In after the Second World War, we had only domestic flights from Cluj to Bucharest, 2 flights daily with Antonov 24. In 96, we managed to obtain the governmental decision to be international. It was very important because we wanted to have international traffic. 2007, very important year for Romanian aviation. In 2007, Romania joined the European Union. Liberalization came. Before there were bilateral agreements, and Tarom, the national airline, they had the power to oppose foreign airlines, and they did. So the regional airports, we could increase the traffic only after liberalization came. Regarding the next steps, we studied what happened in Poland and Hungary. They joined the European Union in 2004. The traffic increased a lot. And in 2005, we prepared design for new terminals. And we finished in 2008, we finished the arrival terminal. 2009 the departure terminal, and we finished terminals and infrastructure for 3 million passengers based on estimation that the traffic will increase. So when we had 200,000, we already prepared the future. We still have the newspapers from 2008, 2009. They said the terminals are too big, they are for birds. 2019, they criticized they are too small. So it's we told them that if they say they are too small, it's a compliment, and I show them the newspapers, and they criticize the terminals are too small. 2013, we managed to build a totally new runway. The infrastructure was very old, since 1968. It is 2,100 meters. We want to extend to 3,400 meters. We have a problem with the river Somes. They started to reroute the river. When they finish to reroute the river, we will extend to 3,400 meters. And as Glyn said, we have big opportunities for cargo and also for passengers. We have a very good catchment area, so we believe it will be a very good opportunity. 2019, we had 2.9 million passengers. This year, we expect to have more than 3 million. We are located in the heart of Transylvania, almost 3 hours flying time to most of Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. We have 4 million catchment area people for our catchment area. If we manage to extend the runway and if we will have direct intercontinental flights, we consider our catchment area will increase. We will have more than 5 million inhabitants for our catchment area. We have competition. We like competition, but we want to be correct. A lot of Romanian airports around. What is very interesting, 15 years ago, Budapest was our strongest competitor because we did not have enough flights. So a lot of people, they went by bus and minibus to Budapest. 6 hour driving, they went to Budapest. At that time, we did not have enough connections. The prices were quite high. What is very interesting that the price of the ticket sometimes is not linked to the cost. The price of the ticket is driven mostly by the competition and the power of the market. So when we had enough connecting flights, the prices decreased. The people from Cluj, they do not go anymore to Budapest. Malev at that time, the Hungarian airline, and Budapest airport, at that time, 15 years ago, they considered Transylvania as their home market. So we managed to bring back the Transylvanian aviation market to bring in Cluj. Now Debrecen is a competitor in Hungary because they address to several counties in Romania. They are very active. They are supported, even it is a private airport, they are supported by the state. They use public service obligation for certain destinations, and we are watching what it happens in Debrecen because we share a part of the catchment area. We have more than 60 routes, more than 20 countries, 18 airlines, top market in 2023, Italy, UK, Germany, Spain, Romania, of course, Bucharest, France, Belgium, Turkey. With these destinations, a lot of foreigners discover Cluj, discover Romania. A lot of opportunities for this. We are a university city. We have almost 5,000 foreigner students here. Around 3,000 they are for medical university. The rector told me it would not be possible without these connections and without these flights. Regarding our traffic, 96 we had 32,000 passengers and only dreams. You can see 2007, a big step, and it was very difficult to attract new airlines, very difficult until we managed to increase to 1 million passengers because it was a risk. We, as I said, 2008, we finished the arrival terminal, 2009, the departure terminal, and we already prepared design for the new runway, which we finished in 2013. 2020, a big decrease, almost 900,000 passengers. Half of these passengers were in the first 3 months, so it was very difficult. We took a lot of measures to cut costs, to find new revenues, and to be possible to overcome this crisis. This year, we expect more than 3 million passengers for the first time in the history. Around 3.1, 3.2 million. We had a lot of delays this summer because of general European problems, lack of aircraft, no enough workers in the big hubs. Airspace was very crowded, so they took the decision to cancel more than 300 flights this season until the end of October in order to mitigate this problem. It was also a big scandal in the press with Wizz Air. Wizz Air did not have it was on the average of the delays and cancellation in Europe. But having 50% in Romania, 70% in Cluj, the delays and cancellation of Wizz Air were more visible. Unfortunately, it continues with delays, but now it's the situation. It is much better. In August, we had the best month in the history, 356,000 passengers. Regarding the runway, we want to extend to 3,500 meters. You can see the river, and 3,400 meters will give us possibility for intercontinental flights to increase cargo. Regarding cargo and also passengers, we expect to be part of Schengen. Unfortunately, not be part of Schengen influence a lot cargo, because there are delays, especially the trucks at the custom. When we will be part of cargo, a lot of big international cargo companies will come in Romania. And we expect also in Cluj to increase a lot, and cargo is one of our priority in future. We managed to extend the aprons. So from one runway, we have a totally new runway, new aprons. We have a new taxiway. We were very successful in the last 3 years to attract European funds. It was a program at the Ministry of Transportation for regional airports. For safety and security, it was 98%. We put only 2%. For infrastructure, it was 50% financed by European Union and the state. Now we are currently extending the terminal. We have an intelligent fence, a lot of other important projects. A lot of equipments. We managed to buy a lot of equipments also. And regarding our forecast, we consider in 2040 we'll have 7 million passengers. We prepare for this. We will need a totally new terminal. We want to extend the runway. We need new apron, new taxiways. We consider it is feasible, taking into account our catchment area, our development. We discussed with the airlines. Wizz Air, they would like to add as a base each year one new aircraft. Now we have 7 Wizz Air based here. They consider in 10 years they will have 14 aircrafts based on our airport. Of course, we discussed with a lot of airlines to encourage traditional airlines to come here to increase connectivity, and we are very happy that Swiss announced flights to Zurich. They will start at the end of March next year. They already sell tickets. We will have 3 flights weekly to Zurich, and with very good connectivity to North America. Regarding our recovery, according to ACI, the regional airports managed to recover much better than big airports. The big hubs, they had a lot of problems, especially with intercontinental flights, increase of the price for intercontinental flights. What is very interesting, what Glyn said, we had the same trend for cargo. 2020, 2021 doubled, the cargo doubled, and this year decreased by 25%. Now we understand better after Glyn presentation. We understand better why, because we, in a way, we are in competition. Cargo and passenger sometimes are in competition, and what you said that the money was spent to travel, it happened also in Cluj. So the cargo, it was double, and this year we have 25% decrease. As a conclusion, the regional airports managed to do better, and also in Cluj, it was a more dynamic deployment of carrier capacity and faster recovery for intra-European flights, a lower share of connecting flights compared to large hubs, a greater flexibility and more efficient management of connections and coordination with airport partners, and we had a very good possibility to attract European funds. Unfortunately, for the next years, there will not be European funds for Romanian airports, but we will try to attract European funds for decarbonization, for digitalization. Decarbonization, it is also our priority. We committed, like other European airports, to be by 2050 net zero. So this will be one of our priority. Thank you very much. If there are any questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ciceo. Until we, let's say, slide into the next section, I would like to thank our partners and sponsors that have made today's event possible. And in here, I would first nominate the Romanian Airports Association, then our premium partner, Lagardère, and also event partners like Best Value, Goldair, Airline Services, Anima Wings, and Romania Shuttle, our mobility partner, and also covering the media coverage of the event. Amprenta Advertising is also an important partner for us. And now I would like to give the word to Mr. Kostas Iatrou again for our next section of the conference, which is the Regional Air Transport Award Ceremony, because it's always nice to reward the important speakers that we have here and also partners who have joined up to make this a successful conference. Please.
Thank you, Sorin. Well, as from last year, we have this ceremony that we recognize people, organizations, companies that contribute to the region development all over the world. And this year we have 4 award winners. Unfortunately, due to some circumstances, we have in presence the 2 of them, but we have received 2 videos accepting their awards. Then we have also some new awards. Then the first award is the Woman Award, and it's a new category. And the award winner this year is Ioana Papadopoulou, is Director of Communications of Athens International Airport. Probably you know that Athens is going in IPO, and today they had a meeting with investors. Then it was not possible for her to be here. Then we just got a few minutes ago the video of acceptance. Then can we have the video?
Kalimera from Athens. Warm greetings from Athens to beautiful Cluj. You know that I would very much like to be there. Cluj Airport and Cluj City, they are very close to my heart. I deeply regret, however, not being able to do that because of corporate commitments that unexpectedly came up, and they keep me here in Athens. I would like to convey my gratitude to Regional Air Transport Conference. I'm deeply humbled and honored by this prestigious distinction, and it motivates me even further to work closely with all the aviation stakeholders to try and make a positive impact in our industry. I would like once more to sincerely thank you for this award and wish you all the success for the works of the Regional Air Transport Conference. My very best regards to my friends at Cluj Airport. Thank you.
And thanks for this. And then we move to the second award, that is the company award. I think David presented really well that one of the airlines that really was a success story, not only in this region, but in the whole Europe, and not only. It was recognized also by the Air Transport News last March in Montreal. It's Wizz Air. And we have the acceptance speech from the president of Wizz Air that we will see the video for accepting the award.
Thank you so much for awarding us the Corporate Award for the Regional Air Transport Conference this year. Truly an honor on behalf of Wizz to receive the recognition for our contributions to the region, to advancing cooperation and boosting the economies of this area, while staying committed to sustainability. While I couldn't be there tonight, I think that it's very exciting to receive this award in Romania. It's a huge, important market for us at Wizz, and it's been one of our leading markets throughout the history. Continuous investment has been placed in the country since we started there in 2006. And just last week, we had a very, very big milestone we celebrated, which is our 80 millionth passenger carried in the country since we started ops. Now, 17 years later, Wizz Air is the leading airline of the country. We have 35 aircraft based in the country across 6 different bases: Cluj, Craiova, Bucharest, Sibiu, Iași, and Timișoara. Over the years, we've created more than 60,000 jobs in associated industries in Romania, and with an extensive network spanning 75 destinations across 24 countries. This, all in all, has been an investment of over 3.5 billion euros. And we're going to keep growing, and we're dedicated to keep expanding our services in Romania, bringing travelers to new destinations, creating more jobs, reuniting loved ones, and creating memories. And I think, that's why when I said it's so great that you're here in Romania this night to celebrate, it's just really a testament to what we're trying to do in building regional air transport connectivity. We've done it in Romania. We do the same in many of our other countries. If you look at Bulgaria, if you look at Poland, Hungary, the Balkans, if you look at Albania, I think has been a tremendous success story for us. And we're really, we're committed to building the regions that we operate in, becoming the first choice of the passengers, building the economy, and helping establish new connectivity. I think it's important to keep in mind, though, that as I said, we do all this with a focus on sustainable growth. We have made our commitment to investing in the best technology and innovation out there. We're continuing to drive carbon intensity down. We have the most sustainable fleet in Europe, and we're committed to continuing on that path and really leading Europe along its pioneering as we try to bring more sustainable aviation to everybody. So with that, I just want to say thank you once again. We're really happy at Wizz that we can bring affordable travel to all of our customers, all the citizens and people of the regions. We are going to keep playing a significant role in regional development and building the economic connections. And we look forward to working together with many of you to keep building these great economies of Europe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank Robert.
Thank you so much for awarding us the corporate.
Okay, repetition. Then I would like to thank Robert and for the message from the president, and we'll make sure that we'll receive the award in one probably of his flights from somewhere in Europe. Then we move to the next 2 categories that we have the physical presence of the awardees. Then we have the corporate award. Sometimes, and I think Montserrat and Glyn said about the role of the regulator. It's symbiotic environment. We need the cooperation with governments, and this is seen many times under the civil aviation authorities, and it's important to have a great collaboration, otherwise it's not working. This is the aviation chain, we need to work together. And I'm really pleased today to give the corporate award to the Romanian Civil Aviation Authority. And we are really thrilled to have today with us the Director General to accept the award on behalf of his organization that play a critical role in the development of Romania. I think David presented really well the evolution of Romania, and this is also part also to the Civil Aviation Authority. Then I would like to Nicolae to come to accept the award. to say a few words?
No, keep it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply honored and humbled to stand before you for this prestigious award. I would like to express my gratitude to Air Transport News for recognizing our contribution in civil aviation. This achievement would not have been possible without the support of our staff, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank to all my employees. This award is not just a recognition of our efforts, it's also a reminder of our responsibility for our next activities. Kostas, thank you for this honor. I'm deeply grateful. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nikolai, and of course, CA. Last but not least, we have the Organization Award, and you know, the organization plays a critical role to the development of the regions. And I think Montserrat put very well into the stage what ERA is doing, and knowing Montserrat from the start of being a Director General 6 years ago, she made a fantastic job in ERA, improving the relationship and leading with ERA, also the Destination 2050, and I'm really happy to hear that our development is getting more and more faster than expected. And you know, for many during COVID times era, Montserrat was the face of the Destination 2050 that include all the organizations of Europe. It's not only ERA, it's ASA Europe, all the European regional organization. But ERA made a success story and managed to bring more than 56 airlines, and working together, it's important. And I'm really pleased to give this award to ERA, and it will be accepted by its Director General, Montserrat Barriga.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored for this award, which recognizes the power of collaboration. The association ERA represents 56 airlines plus 220 companies in total. The airlines obviously are at the core of the association, and all the advocacy work we do is for them. But we would not be where we are, we would not have received this award without the entire membership, which is made of all the stakeholders within the aviation ecosystem. As we know, we rely on all the stakeholders to make aviation sustainable, to decarbonize. The roadmap Destination 2050 is showing the path on how to get there, and it requires the airlines, the airports, the manufacturers, the air navigation service providers, and all the rest of the suppliers and aviation services companies and anyone else in the entire ecosystem. I also want to thank my team for also being part of this cooperation that we enable for the airlines and the rest of the stakeholders, and for doing a great job. And thank you very much again.
Well, I need to add also something else, that you know that we're talking aviation, increasing the presence of the gender equality, but Montserrat managed to have more than 80% of the staff. It's
there's 2 men, and 9 women, okay? So,
another achievement. Then even an extra applause, I think, for this.
Thank you.
Then this concludes the award session. I would like also Nikolai and David to take a picture here with the awards, and then I will give you back to Suri.
Thank you so much. And after we take all the pictures, we invite everyone to enjoy, let's say, coffee and a small bite, which was provided to us and made possible by means of our premium partner, Lagardère Travel Retail. Thank you so much.